Hey guys, what's going on? So today I want to show you how to play the new Pendulum Magicians. Well, how to play the Pendulum Magicians in the new format. So as many of you know who've been following my channel for a while, I actually do play Pendulum Magicians in real life, and I go to like real tournaments and everything for it. Um, and if you watched my ban list opinion video, you'll know that I kind of said that the deck was like just dead. And I want to admit that I was wrong about that. But now I've rebuilt the deck in a whole new way, and I think it's really good now. Um, the whole deck is it's really interesting. I don't believe that the deck really lost anything, but it kind of just changed engines. So basically, the way that this engine changed is it's now playing like an Electromite Turbo, so to speak. That's the best way to put it. So I'm going to explain the first replay, play by play, and then I have two more replays and a deck profile for you guys, where I'm just going to like fast forward through everything so you guys can just like see how crazy this deck is. And then I'm going to explain my deck list to you guys. So first off, Dragon Shrine is going to send Darkworm to the grave. And now, since I control no monsters, Darkworm comes from the grave to the field, and then it's going to add a Gate 0 to my hand. So I get Gate 0 because of Darkworm. And then I'm going to normal summon. And that's basically going to get me to my Electromite. Now what Electromite does is, when it's summoned, it puts a Pendulum monster from my deck face up in my extra deck. So the card that you're going to want to do here is Astrograph Sorcerer. So he's just going to go right into extra deck for a later play. Now, setting Pendulum Scales. And Electromite's effect is going to destroy my scales and add a Pendulum monster from my extra to my hand. And I'm going to do this really interesting play for you guys. So, what's going to happen is Astrograph's going to go to my hand, and then Electromite's effect's going to resolve. And since Astrograph is in my hand when a monster was technically destroyed, you get special summon Astrograph. So for those of you who don't really understand how timing works, that probably sounds really confusing because the card was destroyed before I added Astro to my hand. But Electromite's effect hasn't resolved yet. So technically, by the time that Astro's in my hand, a card was just destroyed. And that's the same thing with Wavering Eyes. If you Wavering for 2 and add Astro, you get to do the same thing. So Astro is going to add me a Harmonizing Magician. And then we're going to scale to 0 and go for Pendulum. So that was actually an accident right there. I wasn't sure which ones I wanted to use right now. And I also had a Harmonizing effect. So I just had to like redo that real quick. So after that, then I contact Fusion, and in November, I probably mentioned that I don't really like this card, but now it's just really good because of Electromite. And the reason why it's good is you'll see in a moment, actually. So I decide against overlaying, and I go for Wavering Eyes instead. And it's the same thing as I mentioned earlier, is you got Astro, Wavering resolves, and you special Astro, because cards were destroyed. And I get Harmonizing. My opponent takes 500 damage. I make an Absolute Dragon, and then I'm going to make a Decode Talker. So the reason that goes right there is because you can still just use either extra spot. And now Absolute Dragon has left the field, so that means Absolute Dragon's effect is going to activate, which means I'm going to get a Vortex Dragon, which is pretty much a Walking Solemn Judgment. And then we're going to Contact Fusion again for another one of these. Alright, so I just want to make a mental note that the last card I set was a Harmonizing Magician from my hand. I actually make a misplay here because I thought that I could get the draw from Electromite by with the Starving Venom copying. So I thought I was like, oh man, I'm going to draw 2 cards, but that's actually not the case because Electromite has a hard OPT on the draw effect. I just want to show you guys the board right now, and that the cards I'm going to draw by accident, well, just by not really knowing that I can't get the draws, they're actually not going to affect anything. So I'm going to add Dark Worm, I'm going to draw a Dragon Shrine. I'm going to add Harmonizing, and basically do something. So now I have Harmonizing, and I activate these 2, but they don't really matter. Harmonizing is going to give everything 200 attack. So 32, 35, and 27. And now we're just going to fast forward through our opponent's turn, because we're just going to negate everything. He has another field spell. He's going to try to use this Chem Critter, but Vortex negates that. This negated his first field spell, and he pretty much can't do anything from there. So like I said before, I have some more replays and a deck list for you guys, so let's check those out. Alright, so now we're just going to fast forward through these, because now that you guys know basically all the combos that I'm going to do, and I can still show you just how consistent the combos are. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what if you don't get Electromite? It must not be a big deal. If you lose Electromite, then your deck's not that great. So we're going to lose Electromite. And we're still going to be able to make the November board, which is basically, as you probably know what November board is, Omega plus Baguska. So we can still do this. We can still make this board. He can't really do anything, so now we're just going to go insane. Our board's just going to be, like, we're going off. There's nothing you can do, basically. So all you could do is set the 1 card. We're going to contact, we're going to make Absolute, and he just scoops right there. There really wasn't anything he could do. We're going to copy Electromite. From there we could have destroyed Absolute Dragon, gotten Chrono back, special summon Chrono. Absolute Dragon would have gotten our Vortex Dragon, and that would have been game right there. So yeah, that's basically, there's really nothing you can do against that. Alright, now for the final replay. So we're going to get to see a mirror match here. And you guys are going to see how broken this mirror match actually is. So we're just going to get Astro Effect off Wisdom being destroyed, get a Wisdom, normal the Wisdom, make Electromite. Electromite's going to put the Astro, we're going to pop a Scale, well, Oath's going to add Wisdom. Then we're going to pop Oath, add Astro, special Astro, add Wisdom, draw a card, set Scales, Pendulum, make Absolute Dragon, make Decode, get Vortex, Wavering Eyes, add Chronograph, special Chrono, get Absolute from Black Fang, or get Astro from Black Fang, and pass turn. So we have a negate. We have 2 negates. So he's going to do basically all the same stuff. So what just happened there with the Chronograph was he thought he could get both the graphs off of 1 destruction. But the reason that you actually can't do that is it works basically like Paleos, how you can only do 1 per destruction, or 1 per trap in the Paleo case. So he takes that back, and he goes into basically do all his combos this time. He took a playback, and that's fine. He makes Underclock, targets Decode, and Negate with Decode. He makes Absolute, and all he can do is attack. And that's where his turn ends. So I'm going to set scale. I'm going to make my Abyss Dweller to stop the Absolute from going off. He tries a Time Graph, so I negate that with Vortex. And that's game right there. There's nothing he can really do. He has his scale. He can technically top deck a high scale and bring one monster back, but that doesn't really matter. There's nothing he can do. And we're just going to go off. So from there, I could have just made a purple poison. Just let me show the extra deck. And then copied Electromite, destroyed Black Fang, brought back Astrograph, all the crazy stuff. Alright, let's get down to a deck profile for you guys. Alright, so here's my deck profile. This is actually the deck that I play in real life. So I'm gonna get right into it. There's one Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser. So what this one does is if you have no monsters, you can just special summon this guy from your Pendulum Scale. Basically the reason for that is you want to get to Electromite without Pendulum summoning. So you basically want to turbo it out. Next is 3 Astrograph Sorcerer. The reason for this is back in November you guys probably only played 1 or 2. Not a lot of people played 3. But now with Electromite you want to play 3. And the reason for that is 1, Astrograph can destroy itself to special summon Stargazer. So that's another special summon without Pendulum summoning. 2, the Electromite combo that I showed you guys where you just put Astro Tier Extra, pop a card, add Astro, special Astro. And 3, if any card you control is destroyed, you get special summon him. So say that you scale 1, destroy it for Stargazer, and you have another in your hand. Now you just get Electromite without even normal summoning. Next up is 2 Black Fang. This card's really essential in the combos that I showed you guys, where you need to pretty much, if this guy gets destroyed, you get your Astro back from grave that you use for Absolute Dragon, and then you can either leave it on the field if you already have the rest set up, or can lead into the second Fusion Dragon you need. Next is 3 Chronograph. This is literally the same reasoning as Astrograph, except for Time Gazer. Next is 3 Harmonizing. Nothing really has changed for this. It's just still a super solid card. You summon it, it can lead into your Contact Fusion, it can lead into a Synchro if you want, you can lead into Negate. It gets pretty much anything out of your extra deck. Next is 2 Luster Pendulum. So back in November format, I know this card was either a 0 of, or people were playing at 1 if they didn't have any better options. But if you did have the options, you didn't play Luster Pendulum. But now this card is actually kind of decent. And the reason for that is because you're playing 3 Astro and 3 Chrono, which I know was the 0 of in November also. But like I already mentioned, it's the same reasoning as Astro. It's just a really good card now. But back to Luster Pendulum. So you basically destroy your other scale, you search a card, you special summon a graph from your hand, and then you get an Electromite basically. 2 Oath, this is another thing that hasn't changed, except it's, well actually nothing's really changed for Oath. You get your Magician back, and then you pretty much just want to get your Wisdom Eye back most of the time, or your Harmonizing. Next is 3 Purple Poison, another card that hasn't changed. Destroying cards is still really good. 1 Stargazer. I like to call Stargazer and Time Gazer the garnets of the deck. You don't want to see these guys in your hand. You want to have them in your deck so you can blow up your Astro or your Chrono and special summon them. Next is a Supreme King Darkworm. Well, 2 of these. This combos with your Dragon Shrine and your Supreme Gate 0. So the reason for Darkworm is because you normal or special summon it, you get Gate 0. So what you do is if you open Dragon Shrine, you can send a Darkworm to your grave, and then you special summon it back, as I did in the first replay, and then you get a Gate 0. So just by having a Dragon Shrine, you get 2 cards. The only time that you really want to normal summon this is if you already have another effect that's going to get you another monster special summoned. So if, for example, if you open up with Curtain Raiser and Darkworm, you can scale the Curtain Raiser, its effect will special summon it, you normal your Darkworm, and you add Gate 0. Pretty plain simple. Time Gazer, like I mentioned before, is a Garnet, and actually so is Gate Zero. Technically is a Garnet. You would rather be able to search it off of Darkworm. I think I'd rather play 2 Gate Zero actually, and that actually applies the same for Blackfang. I think I would rather play 3. That's something I haven't been able to test yet, because as I mentioned before, this is my actual real life deck. And Time Gazer, like I said, is Garnet. 3 Wisdom Eye. This card's just gotten better because you blow up your scale, you now have 6 graphs instead of 2. Dragon Shrine, like I mentioned before, you get rid of Darkworm, you special summon Darkworm, search Gate. 3 Dual Lines. This card's actually rather interesting right now. People have been siding it out down to 2 or 1, but in the first game, you definitely want to have this card because it can get you your time graph or your star graph. 1 Pendulum Call. So, a lot of people don't like this card, and for fair reason. So back in November, you would do this, and you would lock yourself out of your double iris. Now you get this, and you lock yourself out of your whole combo. I've actually considered dropping this for a second Gate Zero or a 3rd Blackfang, but the reason why it's still kind of good is if you have Time Graph, you make your scales indestructible with Call, and then on your opponent's turn, when you flip Time Graph, you target your scales, they don't get destroyed, so you get sent a second card to the grave without targeting it. Pretty plain simple. So it's still kind of decent card, but it just got worse by how the deck has completely shifted into a Electromite deck rather than a Omega Baguska Time Graph. And we've gone from 2 or 3 desires down to 1. The reasoning for this is kind of like the same thing for ABC. You're playing a lot of 1s and 2 of combo pieces that you don't want to banish. That's kind of like the basis of it. You don't want to lose your combo pieces. Next up is Raigeki. I considered siding this, but it's still Raigeki. Next is Star Pendulum Graph. The reason that this has gone from 2 to 1 is because you're playing less Magicians now than you were before. So that means you can open this and not have any Magicians to make this card go off with. And I think 1 is perfectly fine. I never feel like I need more than 1. And when I do have this card, it's still really good. 2 Wavering Eyes. This kind of like, it's just like the number that people have just really like. I sided the 3rd one, but 2 just seems really fine. I never feel like I need the 3rd unless I'm in the mirror match. And that's kind of the reasoning behind that. As well as it destroys your scales, gets your Astro. Special summons your Astro, searches a card. We're going to stick with 2 Time Pendulum Graph. I have considered going down to 1 because there's a lot of times where I actually open both of them, and you want at least 4 combo pieces. So now on to the extra deck. Is 1 Vortex Dragon, because of the Absolute Dragon play, and you make Decode, you get Vortex Dragon, and Vortex Dragon is a Solemn Judgment. 2 Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. In my Grinder Golem Pendulum Magician video, I may have said this card's bad or something, I'm not really sure. But now it's really good, because you make this whole board, you contact out the fusions, you make this, you make another one, you overlay to 38. It's really simple and easy. The synchros are going to be Beals, Ignister, Omega, and Clearwing. This kind of, just because you're playing Harmonizing, so you can make any of these, and they're all really good options. But actually, I would take one of these out, or Abyss Dweller, for second Electromite once I actually have one. Actually, let me know in the comments below which card do you think I should take out for a second Electromite. Next is Abyss Dweller. I actually found this card kind of useful in the mirror match. So it kind of just stops the Absolute Dragon into Vortex combo. But other than that, it's something that I could either side or take out entirely. Next is a number 38, and like I mentioned before, it combos with the Supreme Kings. You make these guys, you copy your Electromite, and then you overlay them. So then there's the one Baguska, and as I mentioned before, you can still do your Omega Baguska play. One Absolute Dragon, as I mentioned, it's Vortex Dragon. Supreme King Dark Rebellion Dragon. This card was like the centerpiece to my Grinder Golem Pendulum Magician OTK combo, and you guys can find the link to that down in the description, as well as the my Banlist discussion that I mentioned before. This card, it just like enables OTKs. If your opponent does manage out your Decode Vortex number 38 play, you can easily make this guy and kind of just like swing for game right there. What it does is it attacks, detaches a material, makes its attack target's attack go to 0, and then gains the lost attack. So I used this earlier against the Scarlight. So you attack the Scarlight, you detach, and gains 3,000. Scarlight loses 3,000. You do 5,500 damage. It's insane. One time Star Magician. If I don't need to go to the Omega Baguska combo, this is actually the XE that I make more than half the time, actually. I find Time Star really good right now. And finally for the links is Electromite and Decode. Decode is really just to get rid of the Absolute Dragon, and then get Vortex. And then Heavy Metal Foes Electromite is the centerpiece of the deck. Any 2 Pendulum monsters. You get to take 1 Pendulum monster from your deck, put in your extra deck face up when it's link summoned. You can target 1 face-up card you control, destroy it, add a Pendulum, which is Astrograph or Chrono. And then, if a face-up Pendulum scale you control leaves field, you get to draw a card. You can only do that effect once per turn, but you still get the other effects as many times as you have a Supreme King, or a second copy of Electromite. Now, for the first time in Gardo Gaming, we're actually going to go into a side deck. So, 1 Lancia. This is for the Infernoid matchup, evenly matched, pretty much anything. 1 Contacting Sea, which can be turned into a Lancia if you want. This is basically, if you're going second, it's a dimensional barrier. And actually, the reason that we're not playing dimensional barriers is if we're going first, we want to do all of this stuff where we just combo, we make our 38, our Vortex, our Decode. 2 Denkos. This can be played going first or second. But preferably second, because you don't really want to side anything out if you're going first most of the time. Like, you're going to want Wavering Eyes, but that's kind of it. 1 Dogoron, 2 String Kaijus, and a Kaiju Slumber. So the reason I'm playing these instead of the Gamma Seals is because this is a level 7, so that makes it a target for your Pendulum Summon. And Dogoron's just the monster that you want to summon off of your Kaiju Slumber. 2 Effect Veilers. Actually don't own an Ash Blossom, and people have been playing Effect Veiler lately, so it's still a very good choice. 2 System Down for the ABC match. 1 Wavering Eyes for so you can play 3 Wavering Eyes in the mirror. And finally 2 Evenly Matched. Just if you think you're going to go second, you just side this thing in. Super simple. And yeah, that's my list for this deck. And it's been doing pretty well. As you guys can see in the replays. This deck just pumps out a giant board, and the mirror match is now super cancerous. I think the November mirror match was a lot of fun, and it had like a lot of skill to it. But this mirror match is really just, you make Decode, you make Vortex, you make number 38. They can't really do anything, they just get blown out. But let me know what you guys think about the new Pendulum Magicians in the comments below. And while you're down there, you can check out the all the Gardo Gaming media. The Twitter, the Facebook, the Discord, check all that stuff out, as well as the Patreon. And that's about it. So let me guys know what you guys think in the comments below. See you guys next time.